Greetings to one and all watching this video. So आज हमारा fourth episode है and this fourth episode में we have with us Rhutuja Thakur from KJ Somaiya Vidya Vihar branch and उसको job मिला है Microsoft India Development Center से and at the same time she has interned at some other companies as well. So अभी मैं ऋतुजा के पास ट्रांसफर करूंगा and Rhutuja tell us more about yourself.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much, Vedant, for having me here. Hi, guys. My name is Rhutuja Thakur, and I'm from KJ Somaiya College of Engineering, IT department. And as Vedant said, my placement has been happened in Microsoft India Development Center, which is in Hyderabad. And my role is going to be of an associate consultant. So yeah, that's all about me. And I guess my interests in IT domain would be development and machine learning and little bit of AI.
Okay, so you have all kinds of interest in this domain, I would say.
Yeah.
So like before getting into Microsoft India Development Center, like I think you have interned at one of the banks as well. So can you tell us, like,
right.
because banks, like a bank and a product development company, like those two roles are completely different. Then like
Right.
what was the motivating factor behind getting into a bank at first and now into a product company?
So basically there was, as such, the motivation behind interning at a bank was that I wanted to have a good summer internship, which would build my resume going into the placement season. And also there was a prospective PPO, which was going to be offered by the end of this internship. So these were the two motivating factors which forced me to, give my all in this process. And as you said, the difference between bank and a product company mainly would be like for IT people to work in a bank, there are limited domains as compared to a product company, like which is purely technological company. So banks basically focus mainly on cloud. Then there's app development, website development. So these are the domains which are more focused by the banks.
Okay. So I get the reason. So like role was one of the reason for getting into a product company which you wanted, because you didn't want to limit yourself to the banking sector, but rather focus onto the product sector. Okay. So like during your placements, you specifically got into Microsoft, but like tell us more about your preparation for it, because it's not at all easy to get into a company like Microsoft. And like exactly बाकी companies and Microsoft, between these two, like अगर मैं totally दो like differentiate कर दूं इनको, तो placements में क्या ऐसी चीज मतलब लोगों को ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए placements के time कि उनको preparation में वो include करना चाहिए?
Okay, so ये actually this is a very good point कि बाकी companies and Microsoft में क्या difference है, because Microsoft का process, if we see overall, it's very different as compared to my other experiences, because like during my placement journey also I had 2 companies ka interview experiences. So from that I can say ki the testing that happens in Microsoft, it is very, overall, it's not focused on something. Like we have seen a few places where we read somewhere that key interviews are going to be DSA based or interviews are going to be purely coding based. But at Microsoft, the trick is that you need to know everything and your brain switching power has to be fast. Like the interviewer will try to test you ki how fast you can go from one domain to another. मतलब जैसे अभी DBMS का कुछ पूछ दिया, suddenly he'll go into big data, suddenly he'll jump on to coding question. So they want to test how fast you can adapt to situation and how much is your base knowledge strong. So मतलब in starting also they said same thing कि यहाँ पे तुम लोग ऐसे मत expect करना कि बहुत ऐसा high profile कुछ होगा. We will test you कि तुमने SY, TY and LY में क्या क्या सीखा और तुम्हें सब कुछ याद है कि नहीं, even SY के सब. So that is the main catch in their interviews.
Okay. So like this process of yours, like the offer that you got from Microsoft, was it on campus or off campus?
No, this process was on campus, completely, nothing off campus. Yeah.
Acha. So like you have companies like Microsoft at KJ Somaiya as well. So like मैं ये point भी highlight करना चाहता था for the viewers, because not everyone watching this video is going to be from some IIT or NIT जहाँ उनको like good companies handy मिल जाता है. Like handy I won't say, like उन्होंने मेहनत किया IIT NIT में जाने के लिए, so they get such companies. But still like other colleges as well. So they can get companies like this, like Microsoft as well.
Right.
So
Yes.
usually, like, have you noticed any difference hiring process में, if you have spoken to any of your other seniors or anyone else जो बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छे colleges में हो, like as compared to your college, and उनकी कुछ process अलग थी, your process different, or is it same overall for every college?
So for like yearly basis पे जो template set होता है, that is same for all the colleges. But yeah, there is a change in the process. Like if you would allow, so I would talk about the change that Microsoft has brought this year only. इस साल से they have started this change. So otherwise the process is same for all the colleges, but they can change the template how they want to every year.
Okay, okay, got you. So like अभी जैसे you spoke about कि during your placement process Microsoft के लिए specifically, like वो लोग brain switching power पे बहुत ज़्यादा focus कर रहे हैं, and they'll ask you questions from DBMS or OS, anything, switch करते रहेंगे. So like, so any specific material you would suggest, मतलब हर एक के लिए, like DBMS के लिए हुआ या फिर DSA के लिए हुआ, हर एक के लिए like कौन कौन सा material अभी जो available है online, तो या फिर इवन ड्यूरिंग योर एकेडमिक्स ऐसे कुछ चीजें जिसने हेल्प किया हो फॉर एवरी टॉपिक.
Okay, yeah. So पहले तो I forgot to mention about the round breakup of the process. So firstly, you will have a technical round, obviously, which is going to be the longest of all the interviews. It can last of about 1.5 hours. And in this particular round, as I said, they'll test every domain, how much you know about everything. And in between, they will also test how much you know about Microsoft. So they can go up and ask you, okay, what is the recent thing that Microsoft has started? Any recent program or any recent device which you know of? Or how has Microsoft improved themselves in the last 1 year? So you need to know these things also when you go in a Microsoft interview. And for the first round, for DSA, I'd say Geeks for Geeks, I have prepared from there only. And for coding part, you can obviously refer to any competitive programming platform. Myself, I had done Hacker Rank and thoda sa lead code. So I think that would be enough. मतलब ऐसे बहुत ज़्यादा complex coding questions तो नहीं पूछते Microsoft में, because उनको सब कुछ जानना है, तो they don't waste much more time on that. And then DBMS वगैरह के लिए also you can refer to Edureka का videos. There are specific videos, top 50 interview questions of DBMS essay title, which will cover all your topics. And OOPS concept is something that I want to highlight over here. So for Microsoft technical interview, it is very, very important to know about OOPS concept. And you will have to know the examples, the in-depth understanding, because they will ask you all the concepts, the 4 pillars, etc. They'll ask you everything about OOPS. So know it. For that, I would suggest you can go to a website called Analytics Vidya. And also you can learn about topics like inheritance and all from GFG. And other than that, the general things like cloud and AI and big data, that you can refer any article or blog, and know about Azure, because Azure is like recently they are highlighting this product too much in their technical interviews. So you need to know what functionalities are provided by Azure. So this is the material. And also for the second round, which is the managerial interview, here you can expect basically they can ask you guesstimates, which are available a lot on the internet. You can have the example. And for guesstimates, you don't need to answer the question exactly. Your approach will be tested, whether your thinking capacity is right and whether you are putting in the right approach. So no need to worry about the exact answer. And there is this thing that Microsoft managerial interviews have puzzles. So you need to know the top 25 puzzles wala thing, which you will find it on internet easily. But search kar do ki 25 puzzles of Microsoft interview, you'll get it. So these are the few things that I have referred to for my first 2 rounds.
Okay. Okay. So मतलब be it technical aspect or interview aspect, the resources that you suggested for every kind of preparation, so the resources will be the same, right, for the test as well as for the interviews. Yeah, so that's where I wanted to say the change. Recently Microsoft has removed the online test round. Instead, from this year onwards, what they did was they did the resume screening round. So they will go through your resume completely in detail, everything you need to give them, like certifications and projects, everything in detail. And after that, they have screened people.
And let me tell you, the 70% shortlisting had happened in this round, resume screening. So
Okay.
that tells you how strong resume you should have to get shortlisted.
Okay. Actually, my next question was going to be based on the resume part. So, like, I was going to ask you, when it comes to your resume, like you said, for Microsoft specifically, your resume is going to matter a lot. And
Yeah,
on that resume, like whenever they ask for information, like nobody knows exactly like what part of your resume is going to create an impact. But can you
right.
tell us about like what all things you mentioned on your resume and what you think might have created an impact? Like it can be your like internships or projects, anything.
Right. So my resume basically had obviously a little summary about what tech stack I am interested into. I had mentioned all my projects, and don't forget to mention a 2-3 line summary about your project so that they get an idea about the domain and what you did in that. Then I mentioned my internship experiences and the durations and the role name, which can make it clear like what was the work. And other than that, obviously we mention our achievements and certifications. So what I observed from the pattern of my interviews and the process, they had separately asked for certifications. They had a separate section where we had to give in our certifications. So I think that that was important part. And what I noticed from the shortlist was people having more number of certifications were shortlisted. So I think you need to remember this particular point. And as from the interview questions, they focus a lot on your internship experiences and your projects. So what they'll do is half of the interview they'll try, if you have a good resume, you will be able to crack half of your interview around your resume only. Half of the questions
Okay.
will be around the resume. So for me also in my managerial interview, my like half of the duration I was asked about my internship, any problem that I faced in my internship, or they gave me situational questions and they said that, okay, did you face this in your internship essay? So a strong resume can help you cut off the time of your interview also and avoid tough questions.
Yeah. So like मुझे थोड़ा मतलब मैं काफी relate कर पा रहा हूँ like during my interview as well. So like the first interview was quite based on the resume part, and like you said, you can cut majority of your time from the interview just based on your resume. So yeah, having a
Right,
good resume can definitely help you get into the other rounds or maybe get shortlisted as well. So yeah,
right.
so that was pretty much about the resume. And like during your interviews, were you asked about any of the extracurriculars that you have at the college or outside the college?
Yes. So in basically in the last 2 rounds, not in the technical round, in the last 2 rounds, I was asked about this. They highlighted my role, which I had put like I was a part of one of the councils of my college. So they went on to ask that, did you have a team under you, or were you able to solve any issues within your team? So questions like this, which can test our soft skills, like whether you are a good leader, whether you are a good team player, do you have good communication skills? I think these things they test through your extracurricular. Even for any kind of a social work that you do know, they'll ask you, okay, isme kya kiya tha? And what was your experience? What was your learning? So they want to know how you look at things. So these things are going to matter.
Okay, okay, got your point. तो मतलब लाइक ओवरऑल अभी तक का देखा लाइक कुछ कुछ कंपनीज ऐसी होती है कि जिनका मतलब बहुत सारा टेक साइड पे बहुत ज्यादा फोकस होता है, सो दे शॉर्टलिस्ट
Right.
कैंडिडेट जिनका टेक बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है. सम कंपनीज लुक एट योर सॉफ्ट स्किल्स. बट अभी
Hmm.
ओवरऑल माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का देखा जाए तो इट्स लाइक ए होलिस्टिक प्रोसेस, वो लोग हर चीज देखेंगे.
Right.
या
Right.
बट वन पॉइंट जो नोट यहाँ पर करना पड़ेगा सबको कि लाइक अभी लाइक माइक्रोसॉफ्ट अलग अलग खुद के कंपनीज लेके प्लेसमेंट्स के लिए आता है, बट स्पेसिफिकली माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इंडिया डेवलपमेंट सेंटर, लाइक शी सेड, टेस्ट जो ऑनलाइन टेस्ट वाला पार्ट है जो मेजोरिटी कंपनीज ले रही है, दे आरंट टेकिंग दिस पार्ट एज ऑफ नाउ. मे बी नेक्स्ट ईयर वो लोग स्टार्ट कर भी सकता है, बट ये साल वो नहीं
Yeah, they
लेगी.
might.
हाँ.
Hmm.
तो उसके सिवाय लाइक रेज्यूमे एंड इंटरव्यूज, मतलब ये दो चीजें बहुत ज्यादा मैटर करेगी पूरे इंटरव्यू के टाइम. And like now we are at the final phase of our discussion, so I would like to like ask you, or rather you suggest all the juniors and the other people out there, like ऐसे कोई peculiar suggestions होंगे which you want to tell others ऐसे.
So yeah, now basically everybody who will be watching this, you might be immediately or after some time entering your placement journey or maybe applying for a job. Just know that you have to be very honest in your interviews. and be calm. Even if you don't know anything, ऐसे act मत करो कि I know it and I'll try to cover it up. Just admit it कि नहीं, I don't know this. Even the interviewer at times appreciates this honesty and says कि okay, you have this thing, कि you are at least accepting कि you don't know and you will be able to learn it in the near future. If you try to show them कि हमको सब कुछ आता है and हमको सब पता है, so they'll definitely catch that and they'll roast you after that. But from my experience, what I would say is once like this process, whole process is a great learning. Even if you don't get selected, no, it's going to be a great learning. You'll get to interact with people. You'll understand what is wrong behind your process or what things you need to work on. For me, though, at least Microsoft ka process was like a huge learning and a change in my whole approach. And I got to know, okay, there are individuals who focus on so much and such tiny details. Like even when I started coughing in my second interview, my manager handled it so calmly. I was like, okay, wow, she didn't scold me and I didn't get panicked. So these things, you will learn in your interview process and it's going to be great fun. Just work hard and be honest to yourself is what I would say.
Yeah. So like I would also like to reiterate your point कि मतलब whenever you are sitting for an interview and interview के सामने बैठे हो, so like you said, like don't pretend कि you know everything, but at the same time don't even pretend that you don't know anything. Like ऐसा थोड़ा balance maintain करके रखो and also like ये लोग वो लोग ये सब क्यों देख रहे हैं? Because अगर समझो now you don't know anything but you are pretending like you know something. एंड अगर आप यहाँ पर फेल होते हो तो दे रेजोनेट इट टू बैक टू देयर कंपनी. वो लोग क्या सोचेंगे लाइक इफ यू आर गिवन अ प्रोजेक्ट एंड तुम लोग अभी उनको कुछ मतलब क्या बोलता है ना बोल रहे हो कि या वी विल कंप्लीट दिस, बट अगर इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू डू इट विद इन द डेडलाइन वो कंपनी को लॉसेस होने वाले. सो दे आर गोइंग टू लुक एट दिस. उनको कंपनी के लिए एक कैंडिडेट कैसे परफेक्ट फिट होगा इसीलिए वो लोग तुम्हें इंटरव्यू करने के लिए आ रहे हैं. सो जस्ट कीप दैट इन माइंड. वो रोल को अच्छे से स्टडी करना कि उसके क्या मतलब डूज एंड डोंट्स है इंटरव्यू के टाइम एंड क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स है उस रोल के. सो अगर वो सब पता चल गया तुम लोग को पहले से, अभी पता का मतलब कैसे, लाइक यू कैन गो टू देयर वेबसाइट्स एंड वेबसाइट्स पे भी ऑन देयर करियर पोर्टल यू विल गेट टू नो अबाउट इट, उनके क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स है या फिर जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी लिखा रहता है. सो वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट you can get through your interviews and get into some of the company that you really are focusing towards. So yeah, that was all about this session actually. And it was great to have you in this series, Rhutuja. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you for inviting me, Vedant.
Sure. Chalo then. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.